to stay clean. Just learn, stay in the draft. So many, as Ryan mentioned, so many young drivers making their first ever Daytona start. They did some testing, they did some drafting and testing, but it wasn't a 30-car pack like it is here.
Hold on.
That's Andy Seiss.
Make sure you didn't come back on the racetrack. I'll tell you, he did a heck of a... Oh, no.
And we're not done yet. That's Scott Reeves, the blue and white number 88. Eric Caudle in the 7, the white number 7. You see Andy Seiss, that's him, the black car on the racetrack. I don't think anybody hit him. He slid all the way back across the racetrack through the pack. You see the damage on the front of that's, I think, from going back up the...
Andy thought he was clear. Trying to duck in a hole, you can see some shadow in the opening. He just wasn't clear by... I mean, that was probably 6 inches, and it just hooked him. His spotter's probably, telling him clear. He's looking in his mirror to try to see. Here we have a pretty good view of it.
There was about 3/4 of a car length. That was David Gravel at 28, and Andy just didn't quite have enough room here. And it's hard to see for those spotters all the way from on top of the grandstands here. That's a long way over to the backstretch.
It is. They're actually looking through binoculars. Every single one of them are up there are trying to get the best view they could. And I thought to a point he was clear, but he made the move a little late, and that hole closed. You see that on Speedway so much. His holes close up so quick here with the draft, and those things happen.
Scott Reeves having to take evasive action. The 80 caution is out at Daytona as we welcome you back to the ARCA Menards Series, the Lucas Oil 200, driven by General Tire. And why is it out? Well, we'll show you. That's the green number 97 of Jason Kitzmiller out of West Virginia, former late model dirt racer, Super Cup stock car racer. Middle of your screen, smoke come out of the back. Not a crew chief, not a car chief. That's not good.
That is an engine failure is what that is. But we do have some pit stops here. None of the drivers way up front came an air bubble between the front and the back of these cars.
We used to have that last year a lot with the older style, so we have one blown up again. But that air bubble is kind of gone, but I do see it in these cars a lot.
That is Brad Smith. Yeah, engine goes away. Oil gets under the tire. Big spin happens. And the yellow flag will come out once again. Guy that's been doing it longer than most. Just loves coming out here and being part of the people. Brad Smith out of Shelby Township, Michigan. Was 27th when that happened. A guy that with his start here today can make claims to making ARCA Menards Series starts in 5 consecutive decades.
I think still it's going to be a little bit early for these pit stops. Where right now, 62 laps to go. Again, they can't come down pit road yet.
Yeah, it looks like another motor let go. Hot down here in Daytona.
It is.
Motors are running hot.
Boy, there was a tremendous storm that came through a couple of days ago and really cleared it up. It's very comfortable out there, so the cars are certainly wanting to make a lot of power right now.
So I want to go back to that air bubble. It's a fascinating concept we always talk about, and I'm sure the viewers at home can see. Yeah, these ARCA cars cannot lock bumpers.
On fuel, of course, this is all coming down to strategy. Dave?
You see the 69 car, lap car, Scott Melton involved.
No trouble, incident.
Contact. Now we do have big-time problems.
It happens so often when they try to get by lap cars. You see Jacob Hefner with a lot of damage. That's Dave Mater, the 63 silver
ran up front for a long, long time as well.
There's Connor Hall, the 22, teammates with Jacob Hefner. They go by that lap car, and they try to get back in line so fast, sometimes they don't give that lap car enough room. There's Natalie Decker.
She's involved. The 01 car also involved. That's John
Ferrier
out of New York.
There's Dave Mater's car.
Absolutely tore up.
Willie Mullins in the 3 car also with damage. That's
Willie
Jacob Hefner right there. You can see him moving around in the car and the window net down. There's Connor Hall, the 22. David Gravel in the 28 with some damage. They're passing him. And you see the 61 moves over, and the 22 car, they make contact, and the 77 of Jacob Hefner was right there. See Connor Hall makes some contact with some cars on the outside. Natalie Decker is the one that makes contact with Jacob Hefner. He would have gotten by, but she had no place to go. You see Andy Seiss, the 02, also involved. But it all stems from trying to get around the lap car. The lap car of Scott Melton wasn't doing anything wrong. He was on the inside of the racetrack against the double yellow line.
Boy, there's one car, I believe it's Riley Herbst, that just somehow avoids all of this. Watch the 18 car, middle of your screen, black 18. It's all going to come sliding, missed it there. Car's going to come sliding down in front of him a little bit further down. Riley Herbst doing a great job of staying out of that incident here that's happened on lap 39.
I think more than half the field was involved in that incident.
Well, When you get to this restrictor plate racing, you hear about it all the time. We don't like to talk about it, but it was the big one.
Riding along with Jacob Hefner, you hear him playing with the throttle. That's the lap car they're going by right there. You see the 61 move down, makes contact with Connor Hall in the 22, and there's 52 of Natalie Decker getting into the 77 of Jacob Hefner.
Ahead, we get in front of that 4 car. He said, you're fast enough. You can get up there to the lead pack.
Big impact. Chuck Hires is in the wall.
They were single file on the inside of the racetrack. Tremendous amount of damage to Chuck Hires' car.
The home builder out of Florida here was running 5th at the time.
Window
Talked a lot
down.
about him, and
That's a good sign there, Dave.
window net down means the driver is okay, does not need immediate attention. Although I guarantee he's still feeling the effects. That was a quick right-hand turn and a very hard impact with the wall.
Possibly some bump drafting there, maybe gone wrong. Let's see if we can see what happens. You see,
that's Haley right behind.
right
Egan
behind
in the 4.
him. Gets right up against the rear bumper. Now they're not together, and then he kind of moved to the inside, and so she made contact with the right rear corner of that car. These bumpers don't line up exactly,
No.
and I think that contact turned him dead right into the outside wall.
There you see it again, yep, and one little tap is all it takes. I'm not a physics guy, but I certainly understand the physics of what happened right there.
It looked like the first bump moved his car to the inside, and that left that right rear corner of his car exposed, and I think there was more contact with the right rear corner, which turned him directly into the outside wall.
It's one of Andy Hillenberg's cars, former champion of the sport that now fields many, many cars, driver development program there.
There's going to be another view. You see that initial bump moved him to the inside, and then when he tried to correct it, that put Haley on his right rear side of his bumper. They didn't line up properly, and that just turned him into the wall.
Cars behind doing a good job of avoiding the incident. Back at Phoenix Raceway for the General Tire 150, currently under caution. After a bad start, it only got worse for the 06 driver, Tim Richmond, out of Ottawa, Illinois. Forced to the rear for unapproved adjustments made to his car. He has just now parked it in the turn 4 fence. Not too terribly hard, but not good.
Just gets away from him, gets a little bit loose. You see the difference in color of the racetrack as he backs into the outside wall. The darker part of the racetrack is where they've applied the traction compound. Below that, they've not. Matt, you've raced on this traction compound a number of places all over the country. What does that stuff feel like?
You have to.
Lap 31 at Phoenix Raceway has brought out our second caution at the General Tire 150 on a beautiful day here in Avondale, Arizona, just a little bit west of downtown Phoenix. It was brought out because of the 22 car. Paul Andrews, crew chief, Chad Bryant Racing, Christian McGee making his inaugural start. Again, found a little slippery going over there in the corners.
Well, I think he made a little contact with Gio Selzy in the 16 car. Yeah, that got him in the outside wall. Not a lot of damage. I was talking to Chad Bryant. Let's take another look at it. See, he's just going to drive across the nose. Not sure that he...
And I'm going to blame that more on the spotter.
Yeah, I think he maybe thought he was clear, and maybe the spotter didn't tell him that he wasn't, whatever. Not a great deal of contact with a...
As a race driver, I'm going to blame the spotter all the time, right? I didn't do anything wrong.
Well, let's see what issues for Chase. Van Moffitt, the 46 right there, the 11 of Dawson.
The 16 goes around into the wall.
Gio Selzy.
He just had somebody sitting on his door. I mean, it was good, hard racing, and the air is just so valuable having it on the right side and having side force, and he just got sucked around right there.
Gio, the younger son of the NHRA champion Gary Selzy, the second racer ever in that history to win both Top Fuel and Funny Car. Gio's got a bunch of youngest in his resume. Youngest winner at the World of Outlaws, youngest winner in Knoxville. The guy who's making that transition to pavement. In fact, his first ever pavement race in a spec late model, he found victory lane.
Yeah, that was Sam Mayer that was on its outside. And you talk about it, that car on the inside so vulnerable. There's Michael Self not going at the initial start. Zane Smith, the 17, black 17, made contact with him, but
recently cut off 8 inches of what I'm going to go ahead and call his red hot locks.
oh, Michael Self around.
Maybe trying a little bit too hard.
Was there contact from that 12 car of Lawless Allen?
Cameras circling this racetrack. We can go back. We can find out exactly what happened. Looking to the inside of the 11 machine.
Yes, he got some help.
Got some help, but it looked like the gap opened up there. Do you think maybe that thing shut off again? Is that a possibility?
Or they ran in on the 11 car.
But it hadn't always been that way.
No, sure hasn't.
We got a caution flag out once again. The 5th one already. The 99 has issues. That's Gracie Trotter, 3rd generation racer out of North Carolina. One of Bill McAnally's 4 racers.
Yeah, she finished 4th at the Bull Ring in the first ARCA Menards West Series race. Stops on the racetrack.
Read an article about Gracie. At age 7, was a trophy girl when Harrison Burton won Bandoleros. She liked that limelight, but she likes this limelight.
You get somebody that's ran up there and made some decent time. I'm not going to follow the guy. I'm going to go up here and see if this traction compound, I can get it to activate, and I can drive bicycle with you guys.
On board with Thad Moffitt, looking over at Jesse Love as the 32 now. Brings out our 6th caution of the day. That's Howie DiSavino out of Chesterfield, Virginia.
Looks like a good bit of damage to the left rear corner of that car. That's a Kevin Sawinski car.
Top of your screen there.
Had some contact. He was racing side by side. Looked like the 15 of Drew Dollar.
See if we catch it here. Yep.
They definitely made some contact there. Probably another situation where maybe Drew Dollar on the inside of Savino maybe got a little bit loose, had to use a little bit too much racetrack, and they made contact and around how he went.
Yeah, you're
right there, Drew Dollar.
A further example of the butt whooping that is ensuing here.
Oh, trouble.
Oh, Moffitt up in flames, into the wall hard.
Left front tire go
yes,
down.
Blue left front for sure.
Hard contact for Thad Moffitt.
Grandson of the 7-time champion Richard Petty.
See him moving around in the car. There's no doubt it rang his bell a little bit.
That knocks the wind out of you. I've done that there in the old turn 1, and
it's absolutely the worst spot for that to happen too.
oh, absolutely.
You can see some sparks from underneath the
Right
car.
there.
Now it's down on the wheel. He has zero control over that car. He can turn the wheel all he wants, and it's going straight.
You're just along for the ride at that point.
Jesse Love does a nice job of noticing the sparks and turning left to avoid Thad Moffitt.
It happens in an instant, but you hear race car drivers talk about it all the time. Greg, good on board. Ouch.
Wow.
It probably seems like it's a long time before that big hit.
About 10,
You know it's
15
coming.
minutes. 10, 15 minutes of what it
Yeah,
feels like it takes.
absolutely.
18 has caught the rear bumper of the 20. Big run coming, under 7 to go. Caution out, though, once again.
Jesse Love, the 19, with a lot of damage.
Both in the front and the back.
It's the best news for Chandler Smith to wind the laps away. Drew Dollar also involved in that, and I thought he was driving away from that incident.
Let's go back and see if we can figure out what, when, where, and why. There it is in the back.
They got tied together getting in turn 3 for some reason.
Left front fender hooked that right rear quarter in.
Yeah, Jesse Love made some pretty significant contact.
Like Toyota on board before he got to the
Yes,
corner.
absolutely he did.
Somehow they got together before they actually got to the corner, and it turned Jesse into the outside wall.
Two disappointed drivers that were 6 laps from the finish.
Yeah,
It's feeling like the sun